Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another Kingdom Hearts 3 news update. We have a lot to unpack this time from two different interviews that Tetsuya Nomura participated in, and I'm very excited to get into it. We have some nice nuggets of information, one very interesting one that we just got. We're going through two separate interviews here. One of them is from Mirror Online, which was a fan-oriented interview, as well as one that is just now breaking via Dengeki Playstation, a Japanese publication. So let's get started with the first interview. There was basically one big thing I wanted to talk about with this one, and it's the inclusion of Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3, and how are we going to be getting new ones? And basically we got no good answer for it, to be honest. We got into more basically talking about why we potentially will not be getting any new characters, or why it's become more difficult for them to want to add them, and it's because they have to question whether it's worth the effort, because they have so many original characters that are made specifically for the games. And while there's precedence for adding characters like Squall, like Cloud, and like Tifa, there is this idea of we need to finish off the plot lines for all these other important characters that exist within the games themselves and are not just cameos. So that doesn't mean we won't get any, but he's kind of setting it up like, it seems like a lot of things he does are for two reasons. One, he's being completely honest with you, and it's to set you up to keep you from being disappointed if you don't see a new Final Fantasy character in, and it's the same crew that you have seen in the other Kingdom Hearts games. Or it's the other thing that he tends to do a lot, which is say something to give yourself a certain expectation, and then he blows it out of the water with surprises. He did this with the Famitsu interview correction, in which he said, hey guys, don't be as excited about this Kingdom Hearts 3 D23 news. I think that in the mistranslation, people are getting too hyped up about it. It will be normal news. And then the normal news was a almost 6-minute long trailer with new gameplay, a new world that people have been wanting for well over a decade, and a release year. Yeah, I think that it could be one of two things, take it as you will, but I think the tried and true rule of any Square Enix game, keep your expectations reasonable, and if you do, you will shit yourself when they exceed them, which they tend to do, especially when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts series and all of the games that Nomura ends up heading up. So, that being said, let's move on to another subject within the Final Fantasy characters. Will we be able to fight Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 3? The third match. You know, best 2 out of 3. First one was pretty good, and then the second one was actually given some plot relevance with a subplot between Sephiroth and Cloud, Sephiroth being the darkness to Cloud's light, and then that was left on kind of like a cliffhanger, the fight unfinished. And it's almost as if, could they finish this? Could they, you know, tie up that thread? It's not necessary, I would say, but it would be cool to say, like, oh man, they're fighting again, and then you have Cloud in your party, and then you have this cool super boss of that. Maybe they try to go Advent Children with it, and you fight the Sephiroth clones that then eventually fuse into the true Sephiroth, and you have a big fight with that. They could do a lot of things with that. You could just put Genesis in. Just pay Gact a couple dollars, and you could do that. But what he has to say, what Nomura has to say on the subject, is that his team, he's very specific in what he's saying about this. He says that the people on his team have expressed that it might be redundant. Which, since he said it like that, makes me think that he wants it, and they might think it's redundant to have to fight him again. Personally, I find it to be a tradition in numbered titles, almost, that in the other two games, you fought Sephiroth, and I think that it'd be cool that in that third numbered title, at least for KH3, you continue this short tradition of letting you fight him, and it would be a good way to advertise the Final Fantasy VII Remake that you're working so hard on, of having a cool fight against Sephiroth that's in the brand new HD engine. I can drool just thinking about it, and they'd have a chance to maybe make him a little stronger than he was in KH2, because once Final Mix came out, he wasn't top dog. He wasn't even like middle dog, because there was 13 other bosses that were clearly more difficult than he was by the time that was going on. So I'd love to see it, and I'd love to hear if you guys were interested in seeing Sephiroth again and taking him on as a fun optional boss. Let me know in the comments down below. And now we're moving on to the Dengeki interview. This is from Dengeki Playstation, a Japanese publication that, like Famitsu, interviews Nomura quite often. The interview right now is currently being translated, so not all of it is ready. So I will give you a couple of tidbits, and if more news comes out, then tomorrow, most likely, because I assume translators are working real hard on that. There are a couple on Twitter that I follow that should be getting to it. We will have another video talking about more stuff. But what is interesting is he had a couple of things to say. The first one, and the most exciting one, is what the first world of the game is going to be. For the longest time, through Kingdom Hearts 0.2, everyone assumed that at the very end of that, you have Sora in a cutscene, and he's like, alright, Olympus Coliseum, here we come, and then, boom, reconnect Kingdom Hearts, and then it's time to start KH3, and that's where you're going to start. But as it turns out, the tutorial world for Kingdom Hearts 3 is confirmed to be Twilight Town, instead of Olympus, which, not gonna lie, it came to a shock to me at first of, oh, so, you know, everything seemed to be going in that direction, and then I thought about it a little bit, and it actually is starting to make sense. So everyone was thinking that that was going to be it, but in an interview back in January with Dengeki, I believe, Nomura had said that Kingdom Hearts 0.2's final cutscene that introduced Sora and all of that stuff was actually so long that it crossed into stuff they wanted to cover in Kingdom Hearts 3 itself. So, as a result, they will probably be playing that cutscene again, at least most of it, when you're playing KH3. Makes a lot of sense. The next thing I'd like to bring up is in that cutscene when Sora arrives, I believe it was Goofy or Donald, go up to Sora and say, what were you doing? Where were you? And Sora says, it's a secret. And in my mind, the game starts with like this cut-in. Like, my dream version of how this game opens, right? You start the game. You get the CG intro. Utada Hikaru has a brand new track, blaring, loving it. Amazing visuals that show a bunch of different aspects of the series and everything in the future. Very awesome. Title card. Then cut to years and years ago, and you see this cutscene again that they've been advertising was how the game was supposed to start, which was a young Ericus and a young Xehanort are talking over and playing a game of chess, and then it transitions into this cold open where you're playing as Sora and you're fighting against the Wave of Heartless from the very first trailer of Kingdom Hearts 3, where they're just attacking Twilight Town. This is your tutorial, you're taking them on. They won't be nearly as challenging or as ferocious as the Demon Tide in 0.2, but will be a cool way for you to get into the combat and learn how it works. You take them out, maybe he has some interactions with some of the people there, you know, Hayner, Pence, Olette, that kind of thing. But then after this goes, oh man, I'm late, and he goes and he has to head to Yen Sid. He goes up to the Station Heights, gets on that train, makes it to the tower, maybe fights a couple of Heartless outside it, walks up, the cutscene from the end of 0.2 plays, you get your prep, what everyone has to do, what is the goal. They get in the ship and say, alright, Olympus Coliseum, here we go. And then the game starts, and that is your tutorial. Unlike Kingdom Hearts 2, it's not going to be like a 3-hour tutorial type of thing, because Nomura said the original idea for the tutorial and like the intro of the game was possibly going to be the Aqua related stuff, but then they changed the idea and made it a 2.8 exclusive thing. So I think that's maybe how that goes, because since he confirmed Twilight Town's the tutorial, it's that. The only other thing I could think of is he says, Olympus Coliseum, here we come. They warp through that keyhole, they warp through that thing in their gummy ship, and Sora goes, ah shit, I picked the wrong direction. Like, I don't think it's that, because Twilight Town's right next to, the mysterious tower. They're connected if you go by KH2. So it's just a short, magical, interdimensional train ride. So I don't honestly see... I don't see the point in getting in the gummy ship for that. I feel like it'd be very easy to just warp in and out of there, but who knows how they're doing it. To be honest, this makes the most sense, even if you don't have like this big bombastic set-piece boss fight with Sora to start the game. At the very least, you could do some sort of tutorial stuff in Twilight Town before he heads to Yensid's tower and gets prepped on the big adventure to punch Xehanort in the teeth. So that's like the biggest source of news that we gotten so far when it comes to Dengeki, but there is some other stuff. In terms of he talks about the worlds again, the Disney worlds, saying that while there are less than KH2, they will be much bigger than anything they've ever done before. The maps are more three-dimensional and have a bigger focus on verticality, and that you've seen a taste of it in Kingdom Hearts 0.2. And he's right. If you look at anything in 0.2, especially the intro area, you can just see these large areas with a lot of focus on platforming and large open areas. It's something that we really haven't been used to with a Kingdom Hearts game. Kingdom Hearts games are more focused on corridor stuff, which I'm sure there will be plenty of that in the game, but there's going to be a lot of big open areas as well, which is going to make the game all the more longer to complete. It'll make these worlds take longer, and I'm more excited for them. I think we've basically known that this was the case ever since 2015 when Sora does that dramatic jump off that cliff in Olympus, and then you're like, holy crap. And that's just very exciting. I am very excited to explore these worlds because everything they've shown so far makes them look so gargantuan. Another informative thing that Nomura brought up, which was someone was asking about how in Kingdom Hearts 2, you would do multiple visits to worlds. You would visit it once, and then you visit it a second time. So, for example, you go to Mulan, and then you have to take on Shan Yu and the Hun army. Then, halfway through the game, you would go back, and you would have to fight the Dragon Heartless, and then see what Riku was doing there, some other stuff. And Nomura has, all he said about it, very, very short one-liner when it came to this, was that they are currently with the development team taking a new direction with these worlds that will not have Sora and company visiting worlds multiple times. So that basically confirms that you're going to do every world once. Does that mean that you may go back to those worlds again as a different character? Because we have a confirmed additional playable character. It is unknown, basically. But we will have to see. Of course, that playable character could be anyone. It could be Aqua, it could be Riku, it could be Kairi. I'd like for it to be Kairi. I'm becoming more open to that idea, and I think that'd be great. Because she has basically no character development or character at all. So I'd love if she would get some in the form of being able to play as her. And they've set up that she's basically in the KH series version of the hyperbolic time chamber, a place where time does not pass, so she and Axel can continue to gain power without much time passing, so that they're going to be competent and ready as Keyblade wielders when the final battle begins. And with that, that's basically all the major information that we have so far. Again, there's still more to be translated in this Dengeki interview, so please stay tuned. If there is anything of any big information coming out of that, I will definitely make a video as soon as possible letting you guys know what that is. And if not, that means that the rest of it was kind of just fluff or stuff that was kind of obvious. But to wrap up, we've got them still figuring out if they want to include Sephiroth as a secret boss. They still have... They are still figuring out if they're going to add new Final Fantasy characters in there, but it seems like it's less on their priority list. And Twilight Town is going to be our tutorial world. So, I'd like to hear you guys sound off in the comments down below. How do you feel about Twilight Town being our tutorial again? How do you think that's going to go? Do you want Sephiroth to be a secret boss in Kingdom Hearts 3, or do you not care? Sound off what you think and all that good shit below in the comments. This has been a Kingdom Hearts 3 news update. I will see you guys next time.